Have you ever experienced that strange conflicting feeling of being proud of yourself for making healthier dietary choices, eating more vegetables, blending up nutritious smoothies, and cutting back on junk food, only to sense that something still isn't quite right with your body? Perhaps you wake up in the morning with ankles that look slightly swollen, find yourself feeling inexplicably exhausted for no apparent reason, or notice that your usual get up and go energy just isn't bouncing back the way it used to. When these subtle signs appear, most people simply shrug them off and blame the natural process of getting older. But what if I were to tell you that those seemingly minor, easily dismissed symptoms could actually be your kidneys crying out for help, doing so quietly, desperately, and without ever making a single sound to alert you? You see, unlike your heart, which pounds rapidly and visibly when it's under stress, or your lungs, which trigger coughing fits when they become irritated, your kidneys are the silent workhorses of your body. They almost never complain, never send out obvious distress signals. They just keep working tirelessly, filtering your blood around the clock, day and night, without pause, until eventually they simply cannot keep up any longer. And here is the truly terrifying truth that everyone needs to understand. You can actually lose up to a staggering 90% of your total kidney function before a single noticeable symptom ever manages to surface. By the time you finally feel that something is genuinely wrong, the damage that has occurred may already be incredibly severe, and in many cases, it could even be completely irreversible. But the situation becomes even more shocking when you look at the daily habits of millions of people. Millions of Americans right now are unknowingly accelerating that kidney damage every single day, and the culprit is not what you might expect. It's not through indulging in fast food, sugary sodas, or processed snacks. The real danger comes from the very foods they are convinced are keeping them healthy. Vegetables. Yes, you heard that correctly. Vegetables. Some of the very same superfoods that are heavily promoted on popular health blogs, featured in trendy juice bars, and celebrated as nutritional powerhouses may actually be overloading your kidneys with hidden toxins, excessive minerals, and acids that your kidneys can no longer handle effectively. I'm Dr. Jason, and in this episode, I'm going to take you on a deep dive to reveal exactly which vegetables are silently sabotaging your kidney health, and, more importantly, which ones have the power to actually heal and protect them. By the time we reach the end of this discussion, you will have a clear, actionable understanding of how to build a plate that nourishes your entire body without pushing your kidneys any closer to failure. Because in the realm of health, knowledge isn't just power, it is your primary form of protection. So, before you reach for that next salad bowl or blend up your morning smoothie, I urge you to stay with me. What you are about to learn in the next few minutes has the potential to literally save your kidneys and, quite possibly, your life. Let's kick things off with a food item that sits on almost every single kitchen shelf across America: tomatoes. They are bright, tangy, loved by millions, and considered a staple in countless cuisines. But the danger isn't actually found within the tomato itself. The real risk emerges when we take that naturally harmless fruit and transform it into something else entirely. When you take something that is perfectly safe in its whole form and concentrate it down into paste, sauce, ketchup, or juice, you aren't just capturing and intensifying the flavor profile. You are also concentrating the minerals, and for your kidneys, that level of concentration can quietly become a ticking time bomb. You see, your kidneys aren't particularly afraid of a fresh, whole tomato. If you have one or two slices on a salad, that's generally not a problem at all. But when you scoop tomato paste into your pasta sauce, that same food suddenly becomes 5 to 10 times stronger in potassium content. To put that into perspective, just one single cup of unsalted tomato sauce can contain nearly 1,000 milligrams of potassium. That is almost half of the entire recommended daily limit for anyone who has reduced kidney function. The more concentrated the tomato product becomes, the heavier the burden your kidneys are forced to carry. That is precisely what happened to Robert, a 59-year-old retiree who genuinely believed he was eating a clean and healthy diet. Every single Sunday, he would proudly prepare his own homemade tomato sauce from absolute scratch. No store-bought junk, no artificial preservatives, just pure tomato paste combined with olive oil. What he had no idea about was that each and every serving of his lovingly crafted homemade sauce contained over 1,500 milligrams of potassium. His routine blood tests soon revealed dangerously elevated potassium levels, and he began experiencing a range of concerning symptoms, including persistent tiredness, episodes of dizziness, and shortness of breath. When his doctor ran an electrocardiogram, they discovered that his heart rhythm was irregular. These were classic signs of hyperkalemia, which is a silent killer that can stop your heart without providing any prior warning. Let me break down the science behind this phenomenon. When potassium builds up in your bloodstream faster than your kidneys can effectively remove it, it starts to interfere with the delicate electrical system that controls your heartbeat. The initial signs are subtle muscle weakness, fatigue, and then, quite suddenly, the heartbeat turns irregular. That is the precise reason why doctors commonly refer to hyperkalemia as the quiet arrhythmia. You never see it coming until it's almost too late to intervene. Once Robert fully understood what was happening to his body, he didn't need to give up tomatoes entirely. He simply needed to learn how to respect their concentrated forms. He cut his sauce portions down to just 2 tablespoons per meal, switched over to using fresh diced tomatoes instead, and started incorporating herbs like basil and parsley to add extra layers of flavor. Within just a few weeks, his potassium levels had normalized completely, and his energy returned to normal. So, if you absolutely love pasta night, by all means, keep enjoying it. Just don't drown your meal in concentrated sauce. A small change in your recipe could be the critical difference between protecting your kidneys and pushing them dangerously closer to failure. But only knowing this one piece of information isn't enough, because the very next food on our list isn't just hidden away in recipes. It's served on almost every dinner table, and its danger runs even deeper than you might imagine. Stay with me, because what comes next is likely to surprise you. If tomato sauce represents a silent, creeping attack on your kidneys, then this next food item is a full-blown ambush. I'm talking about the beloved comfort food that hides in almost every meal, potatoes. Whether they're mashed, baked, fried, or roasted, potatoes have been a staple of family dinners and cherished Sunday traditions for generations. They remind us of warmth, holidays, and the feeling of home. But for your kidneys, that warm, comforting plate of potatoes can be anything but comforting. Here is the truth that most people never hear. One medium-sized baked potato can contain up to 1,000 milligrams of potassium, and its healthier-looking cousin, the sweet potato, can reach even higher levels, clocking in at around 1,200 milligrams per cup of mashed sweet potato. That means a single serving has the power to push you past your entire safe daily limit for potassium in just one sitting. And when your kidneys are already slowing down, whether that is due to the natural aging process, high blood pressure, or early stage kidney disease, that potassium simply doesn't leave your body fast enough. Instead, it builds up silently, much like water rising behind a dam, until suddenly the dam breaks. That is exactly what happened to Linda, a 64-year-old grandmother who thought she was doing absolutely everything right. She had cut sugar from her diet, avoided junk food, and filled her plate with what she considered healthy sides. But during one particular Thanksgiving dinner, she loaded her plate high with mashed potatoes, sweet potatoes, and roasted red potatoes, genuinely believing she was eating clean. Within just a few hours, her potassium spiked so dangerously high that her heart rhythm became unstable. She ended up in the emergency room, terrified, hooked up to monitors that beeped with every single irregular beat. The doctors on call diagnosed it as acute hyperkalemia and told her she was incredibly lucky they had caught it in time. From a strict medical perspective, here is why this happens. The kidneys are responsible for maintaining the delicate balance of potassium in your blood, which is normally kept between 3.5 and 5.0 milliequivalents per liter. When they become weakened, that balance falters. The excess potassium interferes with the tiny electrical signals that control your heartbeat. At first, it simply makes you feel tired or weak. But as the levels continue to rise, the electrical rhythm of your heart literally starts to distort. It's like static gradually overtaking a radio signal until, eventually, the music stops completely. But there is a way to enjoy potatoes without letting them destroy your kidneys. It's a process called leaching, which is a simple technique that can remove up to 70% of the potassium content. You peel the potatoes, cut them into small pieces, soak them in water for several hours, and then boil them in fresh water instead of baking or roasting them. This process helps to draw out much of the excess potassium. Yet, even when you use this method, portion control remains absolutely essential. Experts strongly recommend keeping your serving small, roughly a quarter of a cup, and avoiding the common mistake of eating multiple different forms of potatoes within the same meal. Linda learned this lesson the hard way, but she successfully changed her habits. She still enjoys her favorite foods today, just in a smarter way: leached potatoes, smaller portions, and plenty of low potassium vegetables like cauliflower on the side. Today, her potassium levels remain steady, her heart feels stronger, and her kidneys are finally catching a much needed break. So, yes, potatoes can definitely be part of your life, but only if you learn how to respect them. Because when it comes to kidney health, even the most innocent comfort foods can turn into silent saboteurs if you ignore the crucial details. But knowing this alone isn't sufficient, because there's another superfood that is widely praised by athletes and wellness gurus alike, and it can quietly injure your kidneys from the inside out. And you've probably had it in a smoothie before. Stay with me, because this particular revelation will genuinely shock you. If potatoes are the comfort food that quietly overloads your kidneys, then this next item is the fitness food that fools even the healthiest eaters. I'm talking about beets. They are bright, beautiful, and praised everywhere for their powerful ability to boost circulation and lower blood pressure. You'll see them featured prominently in wellness blogs, detox smoothie recipes, and gym supplements. They look like the absolute perfect food for heart health. But here is the hidden truth that nobody is talking about. What is good for your heart can sometimes be absolutely terrible for your kidneys. Beets are loaded with both potassium and oxalates, two elements that, when consumed in excess, can quietly damage delicate kidney tissue. A single glass of beet juice can contain anywhere between 450 to 600 milligrams of potassium. And those trendy beet powders and concentrated performance shots that athletes love can push that number even higher. To a healthy kidney, that might not sound particularly dangerous. But if your filtration system is already under significant strain from conditions like high blood pressure, diabetes, or even mild kidney disease, this extra load can easily tip the balance. However, the potassium is not the only issue at play here. The real threat lies in something that most people never think about, and that is oxalates. These are natural compounds that bind with calcium inside the body. When oxalate levels climb too high, they form tiny razor sharp crystals that lodge themselves inside the kidneys. Those crystals then irritate the delicate renal tissue, triggering inflammation, causing significant pain, and in some cases, creating a full blockage of the filtration system. That's exactly what happened to David, a 48-year-old fitness enthusiast who genuinely believed that beet juice was his secret weapon for athletic performance. After reading extensively online about its benefits for blood flow and endurance, he began drinking a tall glass of beet juice every single morning before his workouts. For 3 whole weeks, he felt absolutely unstoppable. He experienced more energy, better stamina, and faster recovery times. But then it all started to unravel. He began experiencing dull pain in his lower back, persistent fatigue, and noticed that his urine had become cloudy. By the time he finally saw a doctor, his blood tests revealed severe kidney inflammation. A CT scan showed that oxalate crystals were clogging his kidneys. He was diagnosed with acute oxalate nephropathy, which is a sudden kidney injury caused by excessive beet intake. It took him a full 6 months to recover, and the very first thing his doctor told him was never touch beet juice again. The science is absolutely clear on this matter. While beets do contain nitrates that help to open blood vessels and improve circulation, their oxalate content, up to 152 milligrams per 100 grams, can quickly become highly toxic when the beets are juiced or powdered. The concentration skyrockets, and instead of helping your body detoxify, it actually creates the perfect storm for crystal formation. That is precisely why medical journals have documented real cases of healthy individuals developing kidney damage after just a few weeks of consuming daily beet smoothies. If you love beets, moderation and proper preparation are absolutely everything. You can eat them occasionally in small amounts, and always pair them with calcium rich foods like cheese or yogurt, which help to bind the oxalates in your gut before they ever reach your kidneys. But you should absolutely avoid beet powders, concentrated juices, and those so called detox shots. They are not cleansing you, they are overloading you. So, the next time you see a bright red smoothie that promises boundless energy and detoxification, remember David's story. Sometimes the most colorful foods are the ones that hide the darkest dangers. But only knowing this isn't enough, because the next vegetable on our list doesn't just harm your kidneys, it can destroy them almost overnight. And the scariest part? It looks completely innocent, it tastes sweet, and you've probably eaten it in a pie. Stay with me. The truth about rhubarb will absolutely shock you. If beets have the capacity to injure your kidneys slowly and gradually, then rhubarb can strike like a bolt of lightning. It looks completely innocent, with its vibrant red stalks, glossy green leaves, and sweet tart flavor that shows up in pies, jams, and desserts. But beneath that cheerful, inviting color lies one of the most dangerous plants you could ever consume if your kidneys are even slightly weakened. Rhubarb is nature's master of disguise. One single cup of diced rhubarb stalks can contain over 1,000 milligrams of oxalates, which is more than 20 times what a sensitive kidney can safely handle in a single day. Once those oxalates enter your bloodstream, they latch onto calcium and form microscopic needles that scratch and clog the kidney's delicate filtration system. The result is not just painful, it is catastrophic. That is precisely what happened to Sarah, a 56-year-old teacher who absolutely loved baking. One spring weekend, she attended 3 separate family gatherings in a row, and each event featured her famous homemade rhubarb crisp. By Monday morning, she was doubled over in severe pain, feeling intensely nauseous, and unable to urinate properly. At the hospital, tests revealed that her kidney function had plummeted to dangerously low levels. Microscopic crystals had blocked her nephrons, much like sand clogging a water filter. The diagnosis was acute oxalate nephropathy. Her kidneys were literally shutting down. Sarah spent several weeks on temporary dialysis before her kidneys slowly began to recover, and her doctor gave her one permanent non negotiable rule: no more rhubarb, ever. Here is why this process happens so alarmingly fast. When oxalates flood the system, the kidneys race to excrete them as quickly as possible. But once the concentration surpasses what the body can process, the crystals grow sharp and fuse into clusters that slice through renal tissue. Even one large serving of rhubarb jam or pie filling can be enough to trigger this devastating chain reaction. Cooking or baking does absolutely nothing to destroy oxalates. In fact, it can actually make them denser per bite. And unlike potassium, which tends to cause gradual stress over time, rhubarb's impact is sudden and severe, much like pulling the plug on your filtration system. If you truly love that tart, tangy flavor, you should choose safer substitutes instead. Berries, cranberries, or even apples can provide the same refreshing acidity without the overwhelming oxalate load. But for anyone living with chronic kidney disease, high creatinine levels, or a history of kidney stones, rhubarb isn't just risky. It is a red flag waving extreme danger. So the next time you see a slice of rhubarb pie glowing invitingly on a bakery shelf, remember Sarah's story. A dessert that looks harmless could send your kidneys into a full-blown crisis overnight. But only knowing this isn't enough, because the next vegetable takes the danger even further. It attacks from both sides simultaneously. It's green, it's praised as healthy, and it hides a double dose of trouble. Stay tuned because Swiss chard might be the silent overload sitting on your plate right now. If rhubarb represents a single bullet to the kidneys, then Swiss chard is a double shot. It is the leafy green that wears a halo, beautiful, vibrant, and promoted as a super vegetable in countless plant based diets. It looks like the absolute poster child for clean eating, with its glossy green leaves and colorful stems packed with vitamins. But for someone with kidney concerns, Swiss chard delivers a hidden 1-2 punch that very few people ever see coming. That is because it is rich in two of the most stressful compounds for weakened kidneys, potassium and oxalates, both present at the same time in significant quantities. One single cup of cooked Swiss chard can contain nearly 1.0 of milligrams of potassium, which is roughly equivalent to a baked potato, plus over 1,200 milligrams of oxalates, which is more than enough to send vulnerable kidneys into overdrive. It's like asking a runner with a sprained ankle to sprint uphill while carrying heavy weights. Take the story of Michael, a 62-year-old retiree who made the switch to a plant based lifestyle after his doctor warned him about high cholesterol. He enthusiastically filled his refrigerator with an abundance of greens, especially Swiss chard, which he sauteed almost every single day with olive oil and garlic. He felt incredibly proud of himself, believing wholeheartedly that he was protecting his heart. But within just 2 months, his routine blood test painted a very different picture. His potassium had climbed to dangerously high levels, and an ultrasound revealed the formation of his very first kidney stone. The very vegetable he believed was saving him was actually overloading him from two directions simultaneously. From a scientific viewpoint, here is exactly why this happens. Excess potassium in the bloodstream causes hyperkalemia, which disrupts the electrical rhythm of the heart, while oxalates bind with calcium to form crystals that can block urine flow and scar renal tissue. When both of these compounds rise together, the kidneys are forced to fight on two separate fronts, maintaining electrolyte balance while simultaneously filtering out crystal forming compounds. Boiling Swiss chard can remove some of the soluble oxalates, but the potassium content stays mostly intact. And juicing? That is even worse, because it concentrates both compounds into a single glass. So, what can you do instead? Rotate your greens. Swap out Swiss chard for lower risk options like cabbage, kale, or lettuce. And never make the assumption that more greens automatically equates to more health. If you have kidney disease or even mildly reduced function, you should treat Swiss chard as an occasional garnish, not a daily staple. Michael learned that lesson the hard way, but his recovery was surprisingly simple once he made the switch. His potassium levels normalized, his energy returned, and his doctor told him something that really stuck with him. The right greens heal, while the wrong ones hurt. So, while Swiss chard might look like nature's gift to your overall health, it is actually a ticking time bomb wrapped in green leaves. But only knowing this isn't enough, because the very next vegetable is the most deceptive of them all. It is hailed as a superfood across the entire world, yet for the kidneys, it is pure poison in disguise. Stay with me because spinach, the so called king of greens, may actually be the most dangerous one of them all. If Swiss chard represents the double threat, then spinach is the silent assassin. It has been crowned a global superfood, celebrated for being low in calories, high in nutrients, and worshipped by wellness influencers and health magazines alike. From green smoothies to salads to baby food, spinach is everywhere. But the truth that very few people ever realize is this: for your kidneys, spinach can be a slow and steady disaster, all while hiding behind a healthy, virtuous label. The danger comes from its extremely high oxalate content, which is some of the highest found in the entire plant kingdom. Just 100 grams of raw spinach can contain around 170 milligrams of oxalates. That is nearly 20 times more than a kidney can safely process in a single day. But here is where things get truly scary. Nobody eats just 100 grams. When you blend spinach into a smoothie, you're not eating a salad. You're drinking the equivalent of 3 or 4 cups in a single gulp. That translates to more than 2,000 milligrams of oxalates flooding your system all at once. That is exactly what happened to Jennifer, a 34-year-old yoga instructor who genuinely believed she was taking the best possible care of her body. For 6 consecutive weeks, she drank a spinach smoothie every single morning, fresh, organic, clean. At first, she felt absolutely amazing. She had more energy, glowing skin, and better focus. But slowly, the symptoms began to creep in: fatigue, nausea, and a dull, persistent ache in her lower back. When she finally went in for tests, her kidneys were found to be full of oxalate crystals. The diagnosis was acute oxalate nephropathy. Her kidneys were clogged and inflamed, her filtration rate had dropped to dangerous levels, and she was facing the prospect of temporary dialysis. The science behind this is absolutely clear. Oxalates in spinach bind with calcium to form sharp crystals that lodge in the kidneys, damaging tiny filtration tubules and blocking urine flow. Over time, these microscopic injuries accumulate, leading to kidney stones, chronic pain, and eventually, full blown kidney failure. And the worst part? Most people who are doing green detoxes or clean eating challenges have absolutely no idea that they are overloading their kidneys every single morning. Cooking spinach can reduce some of the oxalates, but not nearly enough to make it safe in large quantities. The real solution lies in diversity and moderation. Mix your greens. Use kale, cabbage, or lettuce instead of making spinach your daily go-to. And if you absolutely love smoothies, rotate in low oxalate options like cucumber, parsley, or zucchini to give your kidneys a much needed break. Jennifer learned that true health isn't about blindly following trends. It's about understanding balance. Once she removed raw spinach from her daily routine, her energy returned, her lab results normalized, and her doctor told her something simple but profoundly powerful. Your kidneys don't need a cleanse, they need relief. So, yes, spinach may look like a hero on the surface, but for kidneys under pressure, it can quietly become the villain. But only knowing this isn't enough, because while these vegetables can silently sabotage your kidneys, there are others that can actually protect and heal them naturally, gently, and powerfully. Stay with me, because the next part reveals the vegetables that don't destroy your kidneys, defend them. After hearing about so many foods that can silently damage your kidneys, it's completely natural to feel discouraged, like every single vegetable might be a hidden threat waiting to cause harm. But the truth is that not all plants are enemies. Some are quiet healers, helping your kidneys recover and even strengthen over time. And one of the best examples of that remarkable healing power comes from a humble, often overlooked vegetable: cauliflower. Cauliflower doesn't look flashy. It doesn't have the deep, vibrant colors of beets or the Instagram worthy appeal of green smoothies. But beneath that simple, pale surface lies one of the most kidney friendly vegetables you can possibly eat. It is naturally low in potassium, phosphorus, sodium, and oxalates, the exact combination of nutrients that your kidneys desperately need to stay balanced and healthy. 1 cup of cooked cauliflower contains only about 88 milligrams of potassium and a mere 20 milligrams of phosphorus, which is almost nothing when compared to the 1,000 plus milligrams hiding in potatoes or spinach. That is precisely why nephrologists often refer to cauliflower as a foundation food for kidney protection. It provides essential fiber, powerful antioxidants, and gentle hydration without adding to the kidney's existing workload. Think of it as a soft, supportive pillow for your filtration system. Nourishing, supportive, but never heavy. Take the story of Margaret, a 67-year-old woman who came to my clinic feeling utterly hopeless. Her creatinine levels were steadily rising, her energy was fading away, and she genuinely believed that dialysis was only months away. We carefully adjusted her diet, cutting back on high potassium foods, and replacing her nightly mashed potatoes with a creamy cauliflower mash flavored with a touch of garlic and olive oil. Within just 6 weeks, her lab numbers began to shift in a positive direction. Her potassium stabilized, her creatinine dropped slightly, and she told me something that I will never forget. Doctor, for the first time in years, I don't feel swollen when I wake up in the morning. The science behind this is simple but incredibly powerful. Cauliflower belongs to the cruciferous vegetable family, which is known for containing compounds like sulforaphane and glucosinolates that actively reduce inflammation and support detoxification enzymes in both the liver and kidneys. These compounds help to neutralize oxidative stress, which is one of the biggest drivers of kidney cell damage. In other words, cauliflower doesn't just avoid causing harm, it actively helps your body fight back against damage. And here is the best part: it is endlessly versatile. You can roast it, mash it, steam it, or even turn it into rice. It absorbs flavors beautifully: garlic, herbs, or even a light drizzle of lemon. Every single serving gives your kidneys a gentle break while still allowing you to enjoy real, satisfying food. So, if you've been afraid that eating healthy means giving up all of your favorite comfort dishes, remember Margaret's story. Sometimes healing doesn't come from severe restriction, it comes from making smart, strategic swaps. But only knowing this isn't enough, because there's another colorful vegetable that doesn't just protect your kidneys, it shields your heart and blood vessels too. And its secret weapon lies in its vibrant red color. Stay with me, because next we'll uncover the power of the red bell pepper, your kidney's bright, unexpected ally. After learning about how cauliflower quietly heals from the inside out, let's now turn our attention to something a little more colorful. The vegetable that brings energy to your plate and protection to your kidneys, the humble red bell pepper. Bright, sweet, and crisp, it is not just a simple garnish for salads or stir fries. For kidney health, it is one of nature's most powerful shields, and it guards not just your kidneys, but your heart as well. Most people think of peppers as simple flavor boosters, but what makes the red bell pepper truly extraordinary is its unique nutritional balance. It is low in potassium, phosphorus, and sodium, which means that your kidneys don't have to overwork themselves to filter it. Yet, it is packed with vitamin C, beta carotene, flavonoids, and lycopene, all of which actively fight inflammation and oxidative stress, two silent forces that chip away at kidney cells day after day. One cup of chopped red bell pepper has only about 250 milligrams of potassium, but it delivers more than 150% of your daily requirement of vitamin C. That is a win-win situation. Your kidneys can actually celebrate when you eat this vegetable. And it's not just about the kidneys. Kidney disease and heart disease often walk hand in hand. When one weakens, the other inevitably follows. That is why antioxidants like those found in red bell peppers matter so much. They help to protect blood vessels, lower oxidative stress, and improve circulation throughout the body. All of these effects reduce the strain on your filtration system. Take George, one of my long-term patients. He was 61 years old, dealing with stage 3 chronic kidney disease and high blood pressure. He used to load his meals with tomato sauce, genuinely believing it was a healthy choice. When we swapped that out for diced red peppers, sauteed, roasted, even blended into soups, his potassium levels balanced out beautifully. Within just a few weeks, his blood pressure dropped by 10 points, and he told me something simple but deeply powerful. Doctor, I finally feel lighter after eating. The true beauty of red bell peppers lies in how incredibly easy they are to use in your daily cooking. You can slice them raw into salads, roast them for a smoky sweetness, or stuff them with grains and herbs for a complete kidney-friendly meal. They are definitive proof that eating for kidney health doesn't have to be bland, boring, or restrictive. It can be colorful, flavorful, and deeply satisfying. So, when you reach for flavor in your cooking, skip the ketchup or the high sodium sauces. Reach for the real thing: red peppers. They don't just make your food look alive, they help keep you alive. But only knowing this isn't enough, because there is another ingredient, one that doesn't just flavor your food, but can literally lower your blood pressure and calm the inflammation that destroys your kidneys from within. Stay tuned, because next we'll talk about garlic, the ancient healer with modern scientific proof. After the sweetness and vibrant color of red bell peppers, let's turn our attention to something smaller, humbler, but infinitely more powerful: garlic. For thousands of years, it has been treasured not just as a flavoring agent, but as a potent medicine. Ancient healers used it to fight infections and purify the blood long before modern science could explain exactly why it worked. And today, modern research proves what traditional wisdom always knew. Garlic is one of the most potent kidney protectors you can find in your kitchen. The secret lies in its organosulfur compounds, especially allicin, which is the compound released when you crush or chop a fresh clove of garlic. Allicin is what gives garlic that sharp, unmistakable aroma, but inside your body, it acts as a natural anti-inflammatory, antioxidant, and mild blood thinner. A triple shield that directly protects your kidneys from three of their biggest enemies: inflammation, oxidative stress, and high blood pressure. Think about it this way: when your kidneys are under pressure, blood vessels tighten, inflammation rises, and free radicals start to damage tiny filtration cells. Garlic helps on every single front. It relaxes blood vessels, allowing for smoother circulation. It neutralizes those damaging free radicals, and it calms inflammation at the cellular level, all without straining your kidneys like some chemical medications can do. Take Patricia, a 60-year-old woman with stage 3 kidney disease. Her blood pressure was stubbornly high, even on medication. She started adding 2 crushed cloves of raw garlic into her meals every single day, letting them sit for 10 minutes before cooking to activate the allicin. Within just 3 months, her blood pressure dropped from 150/95 to 135/85, and her inflammation markers improved dramatically. Her doctor didn't change her prescriptions at all. It was her food that changed her numbers. And here is the science to back it up. Studies published in the Journal of Hypertension and the American Journal of Nephrology show that regular garlic consumption can lower systolic blood pressure by an average of 8 to 15 points and significantly reduce oxidative stress in people living with chronic kidney disease. That means less strain on your nephrons, the tiny filters that keep your blood clean. The best part? Garlic gives you incredible flavor without the need for salt. You can add it to soups, sautés, sauces, anywhere you'd normally reach for a shaker of sodium. Every time you do, you're not just seasoning your food, you're seasoning your health. So, the next time you're in the kitchen, don't underestimate that tiny clove of garlic. Crush it, let it breathe, and let your kidneys breathe easier too. But only knowing this isn't enough, because the next vegetable doesn't just help. It trains your kidneys to protect themselves. Stay with me because cabbage, the quiet underdog, holds a secret that could change how your body defends against kidney damage. After hearing about garlic's ancient healing power, you might think that nothing else in the vegetable world could possibly top that. But there is one more hero, quiet, unassuming, and often ignored in the produce aisle, that works on a level that most foods simply can't reach. It doesn't just help your kidneys, it actually teaches them to protect themselves. That hero is cabbage. Cabbage doesn't look like much at first glance. It's pale, inexpensive, and often treated as a side dish rather than a star, but it is one of the most kidney-safe vegetables you will ever find. It is naturally low in potassium, phosphorus, sodium, and oxalates, which means it gives your kidneys nourishment without adding any extra burden. Yet, what makes cabbage truly extraordinary lies deeper in its chemical composition. Cabbage belongs to the cruciferous vegetable family, along with cauliflower and broccoli. It is rich in a compound called sulforaphane, which activates a powerful internal pathway known as NRF2. Think of NRF2 as your body's built-in defense switch. When it gets turned on, your cells start producing their own antioxidants and detox enzymes, the kind that repair damage and neutralize toxins before they can ever harm your kidneys. In other words, cabbage doesn't just reduce the harm coming in, it strengthens your kidney's natural resilience from the inside out. That is exactly what helped George, one of my long-term patients who had been battling chronic inflammation and early kidney decline. We didn't overhaul his diet overnight. We simply added small portions of steamed cabbage 3 times a week, served in soup, stir fries, or lightly sautéed with garlic and olive oil. Within just a few months, his inflammation markers dropped, his energy improved, and his EGFR, a key measure of kidney function, inched upward. He told me, Doctor, I didn't expect a vegetable this cheap to make me feel this good. And that is the true beauty of it. Real healing doesn't always come from expensive supplements or miracle powders. Sometimes it comes from what has been sitting in your kitchen all along. Modern research supports this fully. Studies published in the Clinical Journal of the American Society of Nephrology confirm that sulforaphane-rich foods like cabbage can reduce oxidative stress and even slow the decline of kidney function in people with mild to moderate chronic kidney disease. And because cabbage is high in fiber, it helps your gut eliminate waste more efficiently, taking pressure off your kidneys and supporting the entire detox process naturally. Cabbage proves that healing doesn't have to be complicated, costly, or extreme. It is gentle, reliable, and accessible, exactly what your kidneys need most. You can eat it raw in coleslaw, steamed with herbs, or lightly sautéed. Whichever way you prefer, your kidneys will thank you for it. So, if you've been feeling overwhelmed by all the information about what to eat and what to avoid, remember this. Sometimes the simplest foods carry the strongest protection, but only knowing this isn't enough because there is still one massive myth we need to break. The detox lie that has fooled millions of people into harming their kidneys in the name of cleansing. Stay with me because in the next part, I'll reveal why your kidneys are already the ultimate detox system and what they truly need instead. You have just learned the truth that most people never hear, that not every vegetable heals, and not every healthy habit is safe for your kidneys. But I want you to remember this above all else. Awareness is power, and small, consistent choices are what protect your kidneys for life. You don't need to strive for perfection. You just need to aim for progress. One smart swap, one better decision at a time. If you have watched this far, it means that you genuinely care about your health, and that already puts you miles ahead of where you were yesterday. So start small. Replace one risky food with a healing one. Trade your tomato sauce for roasted red peppers. Swap your mashed potatoes for creamy cauliflower. Substitute your salt for crushed garlic, and exchange your old fears for newfound confidence. Every single change you make sends a powerful message to your body. I'm listening. I'm taking care of you. And before you go, please do something for your future self. Save this video so you can come back to it whenever you need guidance or a reminder. Subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification bell because every single week I share the latest medical insights, food tips, and proven ways to protect your kidneys, all backed by real science and real patient stories. Your next big breakthrough might be waiting for you in the very next video. So, here is my challenge for you tonight. When you sit down to eat your next meal, take a moment to look at your plate and ask yourself one critical question. Is this helping my kidneys or hurting them? Because the answer to that question, repeated every single day, could be what keeps you off dialysis and gives you back the life you truly deserve. Your kidneys may be silent, but they are always listening. Treat them kindly, and they will keep you strong for many years to come. I'm Dr. Jason. Thank you for watching, and thank you for caring. I'll see you in the next video, where we'll uncover the morning habits that can either save your kidneys or silently sabotage them.